We call it simply 9/11 now, the day that brought the future crashing into us. Suddenly we're facing a new kind of warfare, a hidden enemy willing to strike anywhere, targeting civilians, using terror as its greatest weapon. The U.S. has the most powerful war machine the world's ever seen, but it was created to combat conventional forces. And now the military is rapidly shifting to face this new kind of danger. Whether it's in Iraq or against the shifting cloud of terrorism, American troops are being challenged as never before. This is the story of what they're facing.
But this will be a different type of war than we're used to. It's going to require a new thought process. It's going to take a long time to win this war. The American people are going to have to be more patient than ever. This enemy knows no border. Their network is extensive. There's no rules. They like to hit and then they like to hide out. But we're going to smoke them out.
A month after September 11th, the war on terror began. Sergeant Scott Zastrow, a U.S. Green Beret, was dropped off in Afghanistan's Panjshir Valley, carrying only a backpack. He was part of the first 10-man team to hit the ground. Their mission? To overthrow the Taliban, who were harboring Osama bin Laden and his terrorist network, and to kill as many al-Qaeda soldiers as they could find.
You know, it was a very strange feeling. I mean, it's just hard to explain. You know, at the time, you look around and knowing that there's no other Americans around but you. It's pretty intense.
The war in Afghanistan looked more like Mad Max than Star Wars. Instead of a massive army arrayed on a front line, America placed its hopes on a group of highly skilled soldiers who reportedly numbered only in the hundreds, who could fight alongside the local population and locate targets for precision airstrikes. Scott Zastrow speaks Arabic, and within days, using contacts made by the CIA, had linked up with Northern Alliance rebels who had been fighting the Taliban for 5 years.
The Northern Alliance knew what we were targeting. They knew exactly where the command and control centers were. Their intelligence was phenomenal. It was the best I've ever seen in my life.
U.S. Special Forces used their radios to call in the airstrikes, and their laser devices guided bombs and missiles into the targets.
And the lasers are pretty good. I mean, not only can you pick which building that you want to hit, but you can pick which window you want the bomb to go through.
On this fractured battlefield against an elusive enemy, stealth and precision ruled. Of the 24,000 bombs dropped in Afghanistan, the Bush administration says more than half were precision guided. And as Special Forces prowled the ground for the enemy, dozens of robotic aircraft searched from the sky.
I was surprised at how fast the Taliban fell apart after some of our initial victories. They were not prepared to fight us the way we fought them.
The war plan for the Special Forces fell to Colonel John Mulholland, who commands the 500 Green Berets in the Middle East region. He says that while the Taliban fought hard, al-Qaeda fought to the death.
There were instances where Taliban attempted to surrender to get out of the fighting and get out of the bombing, and these detachments out there saw al-Qaeda machine gun down their Taliban counterparts to prevent them from surrendering.
The Pentagon expected the war against the Taliban to last a year, but it was over in less than 3 months. Many of the Afghan people celebrated their freedom from an oppressive regime. Colonel Mulholland buried a piece of rubble from the World Trade Center at the reclaimed U.S. Embassy in Kabul. In some ways, it was a triumph for American technology. Mohammed Atef, al-Qaeda's chief of military operations, was killed by the CIA with the help of one of the newest weapons in the American arsenal, the remote-controlled Predator drone. But the war against al-Qaeda had its mistakes. Osama bin Laden, Ayman al-Zawahiri, and more than 1,000 al-Qaeda militants managed to escape without a trace.
The most difficult part about it for me is, who are they? Where are they? Show me one. They have no documents, they have no uniform, they have no structure, they have no facilities, they have no homeland. How do you fight somebody like that?
When we start putting the heat on those who house them, they will get them running. And once we get them running, we have got a good chance to getting them. And that's exactly what our intent is.
President Bush did get al-Qaeda on the run, but catching them as they scattered has proved harder than he imagined. Since 9/11, as many as 2,700 al-Qaeda operatives have been captured or killed. But there are now as many as 10,000 al-Qaeda operatives spread across more than 60 countries. And despite their defeat in Afghanistan, there is increasing evidence that the leadership has regrouped and is planning fresh attacks.
They don't have loyalty to a nation. They're loyal to a perverted vision of their religion. But such visions are highly mobile. You can maintain that vision as in Detroit as well as you can in Islamabad or Cairo or Sana'a, Yemen.